Hey, what's up everyone, it's your girl Brain Shanae, and today I'll be sharing with you my November wrap-up. So if you want to know all the books that I have read in November, please stay tuned. And I am back, and also if you're new to my channel, welcome. If not, welcome back. So like I said before, I'll be sharing with you my November wrap up, and I will let you know that in mid of November I did do a little wrap up of the beginning of November, and so these are the remainder of the books I have read in November. So let's go ahead and get started with this first book, and that is I Am the Rage by Dr. Martina McGowan. I thought I had read this book earlier this year, but I had not. It's just always been on my shelf, and so I went ahead and picked it up. Especially it is on the Goodreads Choice Awards, which I'm not sure about this final round. I haven't looked at it recently, I don't think. So I know that we'll be doing a live possibly for that. But I went ahead and read this, and I really did enjoy it. I think of like the vote that I did, and I think I would have picked this one. But I do know that I love Chlorine Sky as well. So it was between this one, Chlorine Sky, and the other book that I know that I read this year, but I don't remember the name of it. But this was really good. 5 out of 5 stars, which is a collection of poems regarding police brutality, how Black lives in America have not changed. It's just been stagnant. There have not really been changes. The system is still the system. It still hasn't changed after all these years. No one has made a change. And like even on the back, I'll share with you the one poem that got me. It says, "I am the rage." That's the title. "I am the rage, roiling just beneath the surface. I am the dream deferred again. I am the promises needed and repeated, but never kept. I am the air between light and dark, fueling flames that burn, but can neither be consumed, nor satisfy its own abiding hunger. I am the glowing embers you continue to poke and prod with meanness that bubbles over into the streets. I am the ravenous appetite to destroy something, anything." And literally that shook me. That poem said everything, and it meant everything. I feel like if you don't know what that poem is and what that means, I really feel like you should definitely read this book and just do your own research about it. Dream deferred, how you're constantly getting prodded and constantly saying, people are saying these promises to you but are not being kept. So and I'm thinking about it, yeah, there's a lot of promises that haven't been kept. There are people that are still being mean to us and stuff, like we can't strike back, you know what I mean? It's just, yeah. This book was empowering. It was very strong. I really did enjoy this book. If you haven't read the poems, I literally read this in one sitting because I could not put it down because the poems were that in depth. And it has you thinking and critically, and it makes you think about the world that we live in, and also in the United States. It makes you think about that as well, in the system, how corrupted it is. But 5 out of 5 stars for I Am the Rage, and this was phenomenal and fantastic. I'm glad that I read this book before the year is out. So we have that. Next book that was one of my anticipated reads of 2021, and that is Symone Breaks All the Rules by Debbie Rigaud. This book was so cute. It's a rom-com. It's featuring Symone, who her mother and father are Haitian, which she's Haitian as well, and her mother and father, or especially her mother, is very traditional when it comes to the Haitian culture. And Symone doesn't want to do that. She wants to live her own rules, so she breaks her own rules in her house. And she has these has a friends group now where they call themselves the Homegirls. So you have Amita and you have Kira and you have Symone, who make this playlist because they're like, you know what? I don't want to do what my parents tell me to do. This is my senior year in high school. I want to live it to the fullest. I want to do what I want to do. So they made a list of what they wanted to do. Like, for instance, like one is to skip class. And I'm going to let y'all know, when I was in high school, I was not brave enough to skip class. Even in college, I did not skip a class. I know that sounds like crazy, right? I don't know why. It was just always the fear of, why would I skip class when, like, my education isn't free? And then also, like, the college I went to wasn't free. So I'm like, why would I skip class? I'm wasting money. I'm paying for these classes, right? So why am I skipping? So that's how my mindset was. But I was a little jealous of Symone just taking it by the horns and just and just wanting to have a good senior year, wanted to give it all she had as far as, talking to the person that she likes. And so in this book, we are featuring Symone, and her mom is pretty much fixing her up with a prom date, which their mother did for her big sister, Anne. And, Symone is like, nah, I know there is a guy that I have in mind that will be my prom date named Gavin. But at the end of the day, Gavin wasn't really interested in Symone. Symone was like, he pretty much friend zoned Symone. Let's put it that way. So Symone was like a friend, and she was looking at him more than just that. But then she realizes the guy that her mom was trying to fix her up as her date, she actually likes him, and his name is Ben. So after all that, trying to break all the rules, she realized that there was one thing her mom was right about, which I find that very ironic. But I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. Debbie Rigaud is so amazing author. She lives here in Columbus, Ohio, so I was able to meet with her a couple times. I still want to catch up with her and see how she's doing. And then also she has her next book, and also that comes out next year. And I think there's going to be a picture book that'll be releasing, I think, in 2024. I think that was posted on her Instagram recently. But yeah, this book was really good. A 5 out of 5 stars. If you haven't read it, I suggest you do so. This is a cute little rom-com, and I really do love it. Even the blurb, it says, perfect for fans of You Should Have Seen Me in a Crown and Netflix Never Have I Ever. And it says, this hilarious and heartfelt own voices rom-com from rising star Debbie Rigaud is pure black girl joy. So yeah, definitely pick this up if you haven't read this. This book came out early. This is the ARC, but this came out earlier this year in June. So yeah, I was a little bit behind, but I was glad that I was able to read it just in time before the year is out. So this is the other book that I finished, and of course, 5 out of 5 stars for this one. The next book that I read was actually an audiobook on Audible, and that is 8 Christmas Nights by Liz Maverick. I think I said the title correctly. If not, the picture's right up here. And it was really cute, but I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars because the ending, okay. So we are following this girl named Rachel, and then she falls for this guy named Oz. But then her best friend Tamara falls for Oz, and they become a couple. And Rachel is pretty trying to just be cool about it and stuff like that. And that's her best friend, so she doesn't want to overstep, and she doesn't want her best friend to know that she actually really likes Oz. But then they have this random breakup, and Rachel is trying to figure out, okay, how can I get Tamara and Oz back together? Because that's what Oz wants. And usually he's a businessman, so he feels like, this is a challenge for me. I need to go ahead and get her back. So he was using Rachel to write these notes or texts to Tamara when she went out of the country. I think it was Barbados. I don't remember. But she went out of the country, and this whole time, Rachel is trying to get Oz to figure out what he's going to do, how he's going to get Tamara back. And out of all of that, Tamara comes back into the States, and she tells Rachel that she knew that she knew she liked Oz, especially from reading her journals about Oz. And, Rachel felt some type of way about it, and she felt like she wasn't a good friend. And then, of course, Oz was starting to also really like Rachel during the time when Rachel was trying to help him get back with Tamara. And I know, they're best friends, Tamara and Rachel, but I just find that weird. I feel like, there is, the girl code where you don't date or go out with your ex. So I found that very weird, and not realistic at all. I could not see myself, after my best friend has a breakup with her boyfriend, and then a couple weeks later we end up dating. I just find that I'm loyal to my friends, and I would never do that. And that really just pissed me off. I'm like, all right, why are y'all so friends? Realistically, I know it's a little romance novella for Christmas, and it's too Christmassy, but no, it wasn't hitting right with me with that situation. The story was cute, but in reality, that's not realistic at all. But novellas aren't always supposed to be realistic. But if it's supposed to be a romance, stuff like that, that's not very romantic. That's being disloyal, and that's saying you ain't my friend. You have never been my best friend, obviously, if you're going to be dating my ex. What? But anyway, so I gave that a 2 out of 5 stars for that audiobook. Let me know down below in the comments section if you have read that novella, and what you thought about it. it was a cute little romance, but it wasn't hitting for me. It wasn't it. But yeah, 2 out of 5 stars for that book for sure. Hopefully, I'm sorry if y'all did like it. I need to just get over it. It wasn't for me. And still to this very day, it bothers me and irks me. So let's continue on to the next book. This next book is also on Audible. It's an audiobook and it's called The Setup. I really don't remember the author's name, but the picture's right up here. And I really did enjoy it. We're following a girl named Oddity, and and she lives in an Indian family culture, and her grandfather is trying to hook her up with these men, or trying to get her, have her betrothed to someone per se. And she's like, no, because she has her own thing. She's trying to have her own business and stuff like that. And she loves books, yada, yada, yada. But no, her grandfather's like, no, you need to meet this boy named Krishna. And so she meets Krishna, and of course they didn't hit it right off the bat. Like, Krishna was snobby and Aditi wasn't feeling him at all. But then again, they realized that when their grandparents hooked them up, their grandparents know each other, and her grandfather actually loved Krishna's grandmother. So they actually had a little love interest before Aditi's grandfather met her grandmother. And that was his love of his life, before he met his wife. But then Krishna and Aditi did end up hitting it off after they put 2 and 2 together and put the puzzle pieces together on how all this random stuff happened, as far as hooking each other up and dating and, finding the love of your life. I thought it was cute. I gave it, I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. It's a novella, so I know I wasn't expecting that much, but I thought it was really cute. I liked the perspective of it. I liked how it was showing, about the Indian culture, which I do find very fascinating. And I really do like Indian culture too. So I really did enjoy this book, but I thought there could have been a little bit more to it, as far as Aditi and Krishna getting together and dating a little bit more before trying to get together, because they only met each other a couple of times. So if I found that unrealistic, I felt like they should have definitely been having more, dating a little bit longer, or just trying to get to know each other a little bit longer before they took those steps. But yeah, 3 to 5 stars for The Setup. The next book that I have read that I could not put down, and I'm so glad that I read this book, and I'm looking forward to reading the next book for this, and that is Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This book was fantastic. I really loved Serapio. Narampa, I didn't really care for. Like, I did not like her, but I liked Ixalia. Hopefully I'm pronouncing her name right. If not, I'm sorry. I did like their little relationship that they had, especially on the ship on their way to Tova. I found that I just love this journey, like, especially going to Tova, knowing about the history of Serapio and Xiala, and how she's some type of, I wouldn't say a mermaid, but some type of creature, that lives in the water and stuff like that, and not really a siren, I wouldn't think, but she was singing or whatever, so maybe she's some type of siren, who knows. But this book, let me tell you, I'm so mad that I waited this long to read this book, because this book came out last year in 2020, you guys, and I'm like, why? It's been on my shelves that long too. I'm so pissed. Like, I was so pissed. I'm like, seriously, Brandy, what were you thinking? And I was like, I don't know what I was thinking. But I've seen a lot of people praise this book, and I just never had the moment. I just never was eager to pick it up. But then, in November I was, and I don't regret reading it. It was so good. Like I said, my favorite character is Serapio and Ixala. I really didn't care for Narampa. She got on my nerves, low key. Some people might like Narampa, but I didn't. But 5 out of 5 stars for Black Sun, and I know that the sequel will be coming out sometime next year. It's called Fevered Star. So I'm definitely looking forward to reading it. But yeah, Black Sun was amazing. So if you haven't read it, go ahead and do so. I'm telling you, it will not disappoint you. I promise. It will not disappoint. So 5 out of 5 stars for Black Sun. And the next book, actually did a live with a few people, especially Bethany, Ingrid, Erica from The Broken Spine. Heather, everybody was just so amazing. And if Bethany and everyone, if you're watching this, I really do appreciate the time that we had as we were doing this read along. You all are very amazing human beings, and I was just so grateful to be a part of that. But we read The Stone Sky, the third book in the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. This book was amazing. The conclusion was mind-blowing. And it made me want to know more. It left off a cliffhanger for me, so I wonder if there's something in the works for the Broken Earth trilogy, if there's going to be like a novella or something for this series. But a 5 to 5, I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars due to the fact that the chapters were ridiculously long. And usually when chapters are long, it sort of zones me out a bit. But that was it. That was the only con that I had about the book, was that the chapters were so long, you guys. But the experience of this book and reading about it, finding out about what happens to Nasun and Esun and Hoa, and Shafa, it was phenomenal. I do not regret reading this. Like, I don't know why it took me so long to read this. I think it was because I was very intimidated by the books itself. But I'm glad I was able to join with these wonderful ladies for reading the trilogy together, because I feel like if I wasn't reading it with someone, I probably wouldn't have finished the trilogy this year anyways. But yeah, I cannot wait for the series or movie that they're going to be doing for the Broken Earth trilogy. I think it's going to be amazing. I know N.K. Jemisin is a little bit in charge of it. Mostly it's like the screenwriting, all that stuff. So I really am looking forward to that. And hopefully, you guys, we get some special editions for this Broken Earth trilogy. I think it's about due that she definitely gets some special editions, because I definitely will purchase them. These books have been out for a few years now, and I feel like that time is now, and that time is due for her to get her special editions. So you heard from me, she needs to get her special editions for all her books. But yeah, love this book so much. And if you haven't read this book, I said all her books, like even her, like the Broken Earth trilogy, please read it. And I'm also going to be going to read The City We Became, I think starting next year, maybe in January, because I know the second book for that is going to be coming out. But yeah, love this trilogy so much. And so these next books are picture books from my daughter when she 2, or for when she went to her Scholastic's book fair at her school. So the first one is Fly Guy and Fly Girl Night Fright. This is really cute. It talks about how a boy and a girl have flies as pets, and they go to like the zoo or whatever and see some spooky things. So my daughter loved it, so she said the rating for this book is a 5 out of 5 stars. So that's what I'm going to say right here, a 5 out of 5 stars for this one. And then we also had another book that she picked, and it's called Bloop, written by Tara Lazar and illustrated by Mike Bolt. She really does love this book a lot. So does my son. They said a 5 stars for this book, especially when it talks about how Bloop comes from space and he's trying to conquer the Earth, and realizes that, he wants to stay with his family that he's, started with, and, and all that. So it was really cute, and I love the graphics. I think it's really cute. But yeah, they said a 5 out of 5 stars for this book as well, so 5 stars. And then last but not least, I had purchased this book along with my 1619 project book, the chapter book, or the ones that has all the essays and stuff. And so I got the picture book as well. So this is the 1619 Project Born on the Water by Nicole Hannah-Jones and Renee Watson, and illustrated by Nicholas Smith. My daughter had a lot of questions, and I was able to answer it for her. And she was just really enthralled with the graphics in this book. And I was too, and it really got to me about our history, but it also was amazing to, read books like this. And she really appreciated this story as well about our history and her ancestors. And there's still a lot of research that needs to be done. I know my sister has been doing some research on our ancestors and our family, so I got to link up with her to find out more information about that. But yeah, this book was intense, but it was a good book for to read to my daughter. And even right here on the synopsis, it says, when a student receives a family tree assignment in school and can only trace back 3 generations, grandma gathers the whole family And the student learns that 400 years ago in 1619, their ancestors were stolen and brought to America by European enslavers. But before that, they had a home, a land, a language. She learns how the people said to be born on the water survived, how they planted dreams and hope, how they learned new words for love, for friend, for family, for joy, for grow, for home. With lyrical verses by Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Nicole Hannah-Jones and Newbery Honor-winning author Renee Watson, and striking illustrations by Nicholas Smith, this powerful picture book from the 1619 Project provides a pathway for readers of all ages to reflect on the origins of American identity by chronicling the consequences of slavery and the history of Black resistance in the United States. So yeah. My kids love this, so I'm rating it a 5 stars because I also loved it as well. But yeah, this book is really good, especially for your children. If you ever want to pick this up, I suggest you do so. But yeah, that was it. That is all the books, or the remainder of the books that I read in November. I really hope you enjoyed this wrap up. I know I was ranting a little bit, but I can't help it. Readers can do that, right? I think we have that title to do so. But anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also hit that subscribe button, that bell to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. But thank you so much for watching, you guys, and please stay healthy and stay safe. See ya.